right. Good morning, everybody. I am so happy to be with you today. This is Pastor Mike, and I'm in our emergency food pantry at the Denison First United Methodist Church, and I am privileged today to be in the presence of Jessica Cramer, a missionary from Zambia. We have a little bit of connection with Jessica. Grandpa Bill is part of our Gray Better Together church out in Gray, Iowa. And because of that, we thought we would ask Jessica to come here, tell us a little bit about what missionary life is like. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure for us to be here. Why don't we start out, tell us a little bit about where you're at right now and how in the world did you get started in missionary work?
For sure. That's a great question. So right now I live in Lusaka, Zambia. So that's in the southern tip of the continent. But basically I work for an organization called Special Hope Network. And so what we do there is it's a faith-based Christian organization that seeks to glorify God by educating and serving families with children with intellectual disabilities. And we do that by training caregivers, teachers, community leaders, and helping just talk with the community about children with disabilities. So I'm a speech therapist over there. I grew up here in Iowa. I'm over in Creston, but got my degree here in Iowa, but ended up in Zambia by literally a divine Google search. I kid you not. I was in college. I was really involved and, God just really placed a call on my heart for using my skills as a speech therapist overseas through a bunch of different stuff. And anyway, I was listening to, I'm pretty sure it was a David Platt sermon. And I just felt the call of the Lord say, hey, you're going to go overseas. And so I literally just Googled speech therapy missions. I just typed that into Google, and Special Hope Network was the only legit website that I could find that was updated and nice and everything. And so I sent them my resume. We had a couple Zoom chats to make sure that, their ministry was the right fit. And anyway, moved sight unseen to Zambia in August 2018.
Wow. So 3 years you've been doing this?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. So what's an average day look like for you in Zambia doing speech therapy? I would assume is English a second language?
Yeah, great question. So in Zambia, English is actually the professional language. And so, if you are in the courts or if you're in legislature, most of that is in English. But actually, Zambia has 70 different dialectal languages. And it's crazy.
And you want to be a speech therapist?
I want to be a speech therapist, yeah.
Okay.
It's a challenge. And so depending where you are geographically within the country, it changes the language that you speak. So where I live in Lusaka, there's two main ones, Nyanja and Bemba. And so I learned them, but for speech therapy, it's impossible to learn all of these languages, right? So what we really do is, when people come I kind of run a clinic, which is just one of our programs that we do at Special Hope Network. We actually have 4 different programs that we run. Parents will come to my clinic, and a lot of my day-to-day therapy or service to these families is parent training. So I teach the parent, or, I have somebody there translating for me, and I teach the skill to mom and dad, and then they do the therapy themselves. And so it's a really great approach because not only does it help the parents learn, but they get to take that home, and then they get to share that with their community as well. So the wider spread impact is quite bigger when we do it that way, and it helps eliminate some of that language barrier that we might come across.
So in a geographic area, how large of an area would you serve?
So within my clinic, right now we're based just in Lusaka. So Lusaka is the country capital. So just like DC in the States, we're, the main one. And so geographically, if you think about where my kids have all come, because we're the center, we have different places from embassies and ambassadors. And so I've had kids that have come from Serbia, Greece, Italy, but then even within the country of Zambia, I had one kid that he came 14 hours one direction in a bus from Northern Province to come and do speech therapy for a short while. And so most of my kids are there within Lusaka, but there's, there's less than 10 speech therapists in the entire country. Okay, to put that in perspective, I worked for a year in the States at Great Prairie AEA and Oskaloosa Ottumwa. We had more speech therapists on that Oski Ottumwa team than I have in the entire country of Zambia.
Wow.
And so we have kids that come from all over, seeking services. And so It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously that's going to be a challenge,
It is.
not having enough speech therapists.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the other challenges you come up with?
Yeah, that's a great question, or really great question. So the other part of Special Hope Network is, distance is a big thing that we work with, particularly within my clinic. But the big heart of what Special Hope Network also does is we have community care centers, which impact our lowest income families. And so with those centers, that's where our main heart is about. And for those families, most of these folks live in 1 or 2 bedroom houses, dirt floors, you might have running water in your house, you might not. So you have to go get, water from the community well. You have a community latrine that you use. And food security is really hard for our community care center families because typically what will happen, I haven't talked about it yet, but in Zambia, there's quite a large taboo when it comes to somebody that has a disability. So, 1 in 20 kids in the developing world has either an intellectual or physical disability or both. And so, a lot of people see that as either a curse from God or like you've been cursed because of something that you've done. That's why your child has disabilities. Or you've gone to the witch doctor. And so because you've gone to the witch doctor, now your child is cursed. And so contextually at large, there's a lot of stigma towards children that have disabilities. And because of that, a mom and a dad, might be together, but then the dad finds out the child has a disability. He leaves. It's a single mom. Again, that taboo community don't really want to support her sometimes, can feel very alone. And so there's a lot of challenges, both at the community level and then economically. If you're a single mom trying to take care of your special needs child, but you don't have an income because you can't leave your child alone to go work, it's very challenging. And so what Special Hope Network tries to do is we try to meet the physical need of both, educating the child, getting them the proper therapies, proper medication. We have social workers that accompany them to doctor's visits, help them get medication, things like that. But we're rolling out a new program where we also, in the past, we've given food packages to our families, and so giving them about once a month supply of food. But we're also starting to do an economic package as well as an incentive. So as the moms come to our program, we're giving them kind of a chunk of money so that that mom can take that and invest in a business so that she can start, either running her own food shop or, opening up a tailoring shop, things that she can do working from home so that she can still be self-sufficient and supporting her child.
Idea.
Yeah. So
What
it's
a great idea.
Yeah, it's all lots of things that we have in the works, but there's lots of challenges, like you said, economically, societally, and even just, building structure, thinking about accessibility for our kids that might have cerebral palsy. The roads, if you ever ask my dad, he's been to Zambia to visit me, there's some potholes that are big enough you can take a bath in. They're so big. So, getting kids access to, being able to even enter their church building is really hard. So there's a lot of challenges that our kids face.
In the midst of all of those challenges, 3 years, give us an example of where you find God and the most rewarding parts of your job.
Yeah, that's great. So I'll talk specifically about the therapy center because that's where I do most of my work. I don't work as much in the community care centers anymore. But for me, the most rewarding thing is seeing my students be successful in whatever communication level that they're at. And so I have a very wide caseload of some kids that just have trouble saying particular sounds like their S's and their T's, but also very severe children that have, rare genetic disorders that they can't move their arms and legs. And so, trying to help them have the body posture and the muscles to be able to speak has been difficult. But for those kids, listening to how they communicate first off, but then finding that way so that they're heard by other people is the most rewarding part, I would say, of my job. So we had a little guy right before I left. We had been working for almost a month. We were teaching him sign language and working on saying more for snacks. And he really liked the song, "This is the way the ladies ride." It was really cute. And so we had been working. Nothing was, it didn't seem things were working in speech. But right before I got on the plane, his mom sent me a video of him sitting on the bed at his mom and dad's bed. And he was going, more. And he was almost verbalizing something that sounded like Jess for teacher Jess. That's me. And so then his parents started singing the song with him. And I just started weeping, of just excitement for, these kids.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's things like that make the job absolutely wonderful.
That far away, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected your area and what you're doing?
Yeah, great question. So I think in Zambia, we probably had a 2 to 3 month delay compared to the U.S. of when, everything started getting impacted for us. But we had to shut down all of our programs for in-person services for almost 6 months. So we closed March 2019. Or not 2019, 2020, sorry, March 2020. And then we were closed until completely no in-person contact up until probably September, October, somewhere around there is when we finally very slowly started opening up. And so, we think of our kids, they're most at risk. They've got, complicated underlying conditions, all of those things. So how we ended up as an organization kind of working with that is all of our teachers did one-on-one home visits with all of our community care center kids. So all of our kids living in the compounds, that's that high, dense, low economic place. We went out, we gave them bleach, we gave them soap, we gave them gloves. And, I didn't have as much work for therapy, so I took out my sewing needle and my thread and I hand sewed a bunch of face masks to give to our teachers and give to our kids and our families. And so, we went through that. And, overall, Zambia's numbers are different than the States. There's different theories out there about why maybe we've been less impacted, but we've had, folks we know have passed away from COVID and things like that. But God's been good, and it's been cool to see our kids actually progress. So we were really scared with, 6 months. So many of our kids are going to lose so many skills because we're not there working. But the teachers had done such a good job with that parent training model in our care centers that these kids were not only staying where they were, but they were thriving above where we expected them. So
wonderful.
God was so provisional, I think, in that time of working through our families, working through our kids, that they've done really well despite the odds. So
well, that's amazing.
It's cool.
Well, how does a missionary that far away support herself?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, folks at home, that's how I support myself. So, all of my capabilities to be able to do what we do in Lusaka comes from fundraising here in the States. And so we do have some self-sustaining models, but none of that directly supports me. We do a lot of local, certain programs bring in income that allow our community care centers to operate in a free manner. But for myself, I have to come home and, meet with people and have those discussions. And so it was hard. And I normally come home in July. And so, I haven't been home for almost 2 years to be able to.
The pandemic closing all the churches and nobody to visit with.
Yeah. Well, they got to a point, even in Lusaka, there was only one airline left. All of the airlines stopped servicing our country. And so it was like, it was even hard to get out of the country. And so anyway, but it's faithful people back home that either choose to, maybe give a one-time financial gift, or, I have a lot of folks that partner with me monthly, and they say, okay, every month we feel God asks us to contribute this amount. But because people do that, it lets me run that therapy center that I run. So, it helps me pay my rent, pay my gas to go in my car, things like that. But
gosh, I can't imagine the challenges.
Yeah.
So in our area, we have right now 5 churches that we call the Better Together churches.
Great.
And we're doing so many things together. This video will be up on everybody's Facebook page, and everybody will see it. But if somebody wanted to help, how would they do that?
That's a great question. So you can go to our website, www.specialhopenetwork.org/donate. And from there, you can give any donation of what you'd like. If you can go on our website, read more about our programs. If there's a particular project that you would really like to donate to, you guys are more than welcome to do that. But if you wish to support my work directly of what I do at the therapy center at Special Hope, you can just click my name. They have a staff list, and so you can click my name, put out much as what you want. So, whatever, you can do it once off, you can do it every month, you can set it all there with your card, and then it automatically withdraws, and then you're all set to go. But if folks are scared about doing the online option, we also have our location in Washington, and so you can send a check also to Special Hope Network, P.O. Box 50543 in Bellevue, Washington, 98015, and we take cash or check donations that way also. So.
Well, that's wonderful. And we'll have at the end of this video, we'll have all of this information posted so everybody can see that. It has been a pleasure to be with Jessica Cramer today, our missionary in Zambia and granddaughter of Bill from Gray United Methodist Church. We're so excited for that. Mm-hmm. We wish you the absolute best, and we will do our best to see if we can help you a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
God bless you, and thanks for being here with us.
Thanks.